I'm gonna watch season 2 way closer.
See, after all this back and forth, we finally finished season 2 of Invincible, and now we need a season 3, because what a dumb way to end it. And the general consensus I see with this season, when I see the posts on social media and I talk to my friends about it, is that it's slow and it's not as good as season 1. And to quote myself a bit here, yes, season 1 is better, and it's not even up for debate. Season 1 was simply peak for this show, but it had to be that to ensure it got more seasons consistently. Not like Amazon are super known for canceling stuff. Look at something like Vox Machina. We're getting like 3 seasons of that and no one knows about it. But to be fair, in perspective, their budgets are a bit different, especially when you consider the voice actors in the 2 shows. But yeah, season 2 was made back to back with season 3 and it's already charting in the prime ranking thingy. So they didn't really need to feed us something for short-term fun, and it's cool as that. And they want to stretch this story for these 2 seasons across the 16 episodes. But also that comes back to my one problem with this season 2, which was at the start, it feels like there's so much filler. And I still stand with my opinion in my mid-season review, link to that video in the description. When considering the filler was for season 3 and not for the second half bits, it's a bit annoying and a bit dumb to us viewers that had to wait 3 months to see it. And it all adds up to make season 2 sort of weightless. And since I'm already talking about the negatives, I might as well just start with the biggest negative I have, which comes up with this entire filler topic, and it might contain slight spoilers for the final episode. So if you haven't watched that final episode, just go watch it and you can come back to the video. If you don't care, I'm not really going to spoil on anything crazy. But the big showdown between Mark and Armstrong Levy, because no way did they tease all of that to show how he was looking for ways to weaken Mark and stuff to do to stop him and all that build up and everything. And my issue is how it's not even like how Mark stopped him. I think it adds to the character of Mark, and also fixed another negative I have that I will get back to. But I just think the way that entire thing went down, that entire 25 minutes went down, since this season was all about Mark not wanting to be like his father, me personally, I would have loved to have seen Mark just see at least one of the worlds in the other dimensions that he has terrorized. That's all I wanted. I wanted Mark to see what could have been. I feel like that was a big opportunity missed, and my only annoyance with this entire season, especially the fact that they completely teased this and they didn't put that in. And it's also a bit annoying that they stretched out this entire Armstrong Levy thing. They didn't really show it in all the episodes, but in some of the episodes, and they were giving us this hint that, okay, Armstrong Levy will be this big bad, and he was only there for like 25 minutes. I'm not spoiling anything. But yeah, I feel like with all I've said, it would have just worked better compared to something we got in this episode, like when Mark was flying towards the end and he was seeing like the past. I feel like if they did that, that could have been a better thing for Mark to look back on rather than actually looking back on his past. But aside that, another problem I have, which was actually fixed in this episode a bit, was the power leveling from Mark. And I was pissed and annoyed throughout this season because we see him in the start, episode 2, when he's fighting that sea monster. That was like peak Mark this season. And also a spoiler for the last part when he meets his dad. We also see him go toe to toe with the Viltrumites. So with all of this, I'm thinking, okay, Mark's a bit stronger now. Even Robert Kirkman said it, that we'll not see Mark get beat as much. Like, I'm not expecting him to be like his father level or like an upper level of Viltrumite, but I'm just like expecting him to stand his own, to like at least do damage. But then Anissa comes and she just wipes the floor with him. I'm not expecting, as I said, I'm not expecting him to beat her or anything, but just make her like, oh, I felt that. She was unfazed when they had that fight. But the final episode did fix it a bit, but I will say he did still get beat up by someone in that episode. It's not really like a big thing that they dwelt in. It's like a really little thing. But he did get beat up, and not by Armstrong Levy, by somebody else. And even after all of that, if you actually deep what happened in that final episode, his quote-unquote win was just against an enhanced human. So a bit annoying with the power scaling for him this season, especially after what we got to see Mark actually do in the build-up to this final episode, or even the episode before the final episode. And on to stuff I loved. As I mentioned in my mid-season review, this season was all about character building, and everybody is just getting their arc, from Mark to Debbie to Donald to Eve to Omni-Man, Rex, Robot. Everyone is just getting their development. Even Bulletproof and Black Samson, they had their little moment. And considering, as I mentioned, how many people got their fleshed out developments throughout the screen time that varied a lot between these characters, I just think you just have to give the writers and directors their flowers, because the structure of everything to make all of this fit in, as well as all of this too, it's just something that I have to commend for them. My standout was Debbie in the halfway point. I think her development is still great. And now I think it's easy to say that Rex and Mark just take the cake from me. Starting with Rex, people say he needed to get beaten up before he came to his best, but I believe he was already changing before that. Most notably when he was there comforting Eve before she went to Mars. And even after what happened in Chicago with everything and her killing Kill Cannon, no, she didn't kill Cannon, but the old people that she endangered, and his development just gets taken to another level after what happens in Mars, and it's just great to see. And then Mark, Steven Yeun, I cannot hate you, man. From Glenn to this Robert Kirkman universe with him in it, he just doesn't miss. And as a voice actor here, there are specific aspects that Steven just makes this Mark Invincible character his own. And one specific part at the end just takes the cake for me. Like, what he does there, he just makes it sound so believable. And that's just credits to Steven Yeun again. He makes it look so easy. And it's not easy to do what he's doing as a voice actor. And then the character of Mark, this is just his redemption season after all the events of season 1. And you see he's trying his best to not be anything like his father and just keep Earth safe and his friends safe too. Sometimes he's a bit overdoing it in that regard, but you just see the growth of him, and sometimes he uses this Omni-Man thing, but most of the time just tries to completely steer away from that. But I also wish we got more of that back and forth with Mark being like that, Mark bringing out his inner Viltrumite side. But considering how this season ended, I think it was traumatizing enough. And that is just the best way to describe this season. From the end of season 1, even most of season 1 to be fair, but I'm just going to say from the end of season 1 to the entirety of season 2, it's simply just trauma. Everything, but more in particular, as I mentioned, the second part of this season was so traumatic, so tense. Like, a little confession, I watched most of these episodes in class, and to say I did not look like an absolute turd, especially in that Lizard League fight episode when I was reacting to what was happening, just the level of trauma and engagement that you just get in this season is just unmatched. At least nothing I've watched in a long time. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully season 3 comes out as soon as possible. Please support my channel by subscribing and stay